Good afternoon. If everyone can take their seats, quiet down. Welcome to the Stated Meeting of October 19th, 2023. I'm Majority Leader Keith Powers. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. If you'd like to follow along, the agenda for today's Stated Meeting is posted on the City Council website.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Roll call.
Abreu.
Present.
Ariola. Aviles.
Presente.
Thank you. Ayala. Barron. Botcher.
Here.
Brannan.
Here.
Brewer.
Here.
Brooks Powers.
Present.
Caban.
Present.
Carr. De La Rosa.
Here.
Dinowitz.
Here.
Farias.
Present.
Felice. Gennaro. Gutierrez.
Presente.
Carr. Hanif.
Here.
Hanks.
Present.
Holden.
Here.
Hudson.
Here.
Joseph.
Here.
Kagan.
Present.
Krishnan.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lewis. Marte.
Here.
Mealy.
Present.
Menon.
Present.
Moya.
Present.
Narcisse.
Present.
Nurse.
Here.
Osei.
Present.
Palladino.
Present.
Wrestler.
Present.
Richardson Jordan.
Here.
Riley.
Present.
Rivera.
Present.
Salamanca.
Present.
Sanchez.
Present.
Shulman.
Here.
Stevens.
Presidente.
Ung.
Present.
Velasquez. Vernikoff.
Here.
Williams.
I'm here.
Juan.
Present.
Yeager.
Here.
Borelli.
Present.
Powers.
Here.
Speaker Adams.
Present.
Thank you. We'll now have today's invocation, which will be delivered by Reverend Jacques DeGraff, the citywide clergy leader of Choose Healthy Life, located at 205 East 42nd Street in Manhattan.
Get ready, for prayer is not an empty ritual. We believe in the power of prayer because prayer is how we got here. O Lord our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we come before your perfect throne of grace. We come because you said that we could. We come because you said that we should. We come as humbly as we know how. We come at a time when conflicts and the threat of wider conflicts darken the global horizon, when even the environment seems imperiled by our irresponsible actions across the planet. In New York City, in these chambers today, we seek your presence. As your creation's most diverse metropolis, we have another opportunity today to light the candle of tolerance, faith, and progress. Let the words spoken here and the actions taken today become a beacon example of what unity looks like. Help us put aside our differences and meet at the table of achievement. Bless the leadership of this august body and each member and the communities represented here. We face many challenges, from opioid deaths and gun violence to homelessness and despair. Father, won't you breathe your holy presence on those assembled here so that today we may take steps that uplift and inspire. Each of us has a light. Help us to become bigger than our individual selves. In other words, in the words of the old spiritual, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Help us today to shine so that the world may see and say, well done, thy good and faithful servants. When we answer this and do these things, Father, we are convinced and convicted that the best is yet to come. God bless you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us here today. I want to thank you to the Reverend for excellent kickoff to our meeting today. I'm proud to host him in my district, just right around the corner from my district office in Midtown. And looking at his resume, you are quite accomplished, my friend. And we are so grateful for you to join us, being the co-chair. A graduate Hunter College in my district, NYU, New York Theological Seminary, and Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Has quite a resume, quite a pedigree, but your service to the city as co-chair of the New York Friends of Puerto Rico, as being Speaker at the United Nations, being a leader and activist against gun violence, being a recipient of the Social Justice Award for the Jewish Community Relations Council in 2022, and much, much more. I want to thank you for being here today and your service to my district and throughout the entire city. With that, I want to make a motion to spread the invocation on the record. I want to thank you deeply for being here with us today. We're now going to move over to the adoption of the minutes, and I'll call on Councilmember Shaha Hanif.
I make a motion that the minutes of the stated meeting of September 28th, 2023 be adopted as printed.
Thank you. We'll move to the messages and papers from the mayor.
None.
Communication from city, county, and borough offices.
None.
Petitions and communications.
None.
Land use call-ups.
None.
Thank you. We're going to now hear from Speaker Adrienne Adams.
Thank you, Majority Leader.
Speaker Adams, you have been Please remove the disturbance, security.
Please remove them
Officers,
from the chamber.
Please remove the disturbance from this chambers.
Please
This
remove.
house will be in order. This house will be in order.
Please remove them from the chamber. Thank you.
Oh, I'm fine.
Please clear the chamber and upstairs of anybody who's here protesting and screaming.
So these are the folks that are in relation to Charles's elected CCRB bill.
Okay, quiet in the chamber, please, everyone. Quiet. Quiet. Please take your seats. Thank you to Sergeant at Arms. Anybody who is protesting, we're going to ask to be removed from the chamber and and upstairs as well. We'll go back to our agenda. For the second time, I'll call on Speaker Adrian Adams.
Thank you so much, Majority Leader. Colleagues, welcome to the New York City Council. You've been initiated. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to acknowledge first, in the spirit of these chambers, the immense grief we're holding individually and collectively in response to the violence, trauma, and despair engulfing the people of Israel and Palestine. The targeted attacks on civilians in Israel by Hamas nearly 2 weeks ago inflicted violence on thousands in a devastating and horrific way. We urge and pray for the safe return of kidnapped civilians back to their loved ones. As violence has now consumed the region, Israel's airstrikes on Gaza have devastated neighborhoods and killed and injured thousands of civilians. Palestinian families have been separated and killed. We know this from our own experience with emergency evacuations. In times of crisis, those left behind are people with the least means to evacuate: older adults, sick people, poor people, and disabled children and adults. Let's be clear. The horrors of violence and war exact a tragic toll on human life. Civilians, women, children, and elders, Palestinian, Israeli, and those of other nationalities have lost their lives, tearing apart families, and it is horrific. We unequivocally condemn and mourn the killing of all civilians and call for peace. This is not about blame. It is about our humanity and the right for all people to access safety. We must acknowledge and hold space for the real fear and pain that many New Yorkers, including our own members and staff, are feeling, especially those with family and loved ones in the region as they watch these traumatic events unfold from afar. Escalating violence threatens to bring even more death and destruction upon civilians. And in this moment, it is critical that we recognize our shared humanity and collective desire for peace. We must insist that peace is possible and remain committed to working together towards solutions that ensure the safety of all people. Everyone deserves to live safely, with dignity, and, thankfully, security. In a city as diverse as New York City, there will always be wide-ranging and differing opinions. As elected officials who represent New Yorkers from all walks of life, it is incumbent upon us to restrain from rhetoric that can lead to any New Yorker becoming or feeling less safe. We've seen how unskillful rhetoric can lead directly to a cycle of fear and violence. With lives at stake and emotions at an all-time high, we must take a pause and weigh our words and actions carefully, especially as elected leaders. Hate crimes, which had already risen across the nation, have been magnified in our city and other parts of the country over the past few days. This leaves all of us less safe. Our role as local elected officials is to combat the issues that impact the safety of our constituents. Especially in times of crisis, our collective humanity must be our lighthouse. As we navigate grief and trauma, we must allow our shared desire for safety and preservation of life to guide our way forward. As we express our views here today, this afternoon in these chambers, I urge each of us to do so with empathy and responsibly. Passion is certainly welcomed and encouraged in this body, but it is critical that we allow our compassion to lead us and that we maintain decorum and respect for each other. While we may not agree, we owe each other civility and respect as members of one body, as the New York City Council representing our constituents. Today is Spirit Day, which is the largest campaign in the world to spread awareness about the bullying and harassment faced by LGBTQIA+ youth. And we wear purple today in honor of Spirit Day and for Domestic Violence Awareness Month to show our support. We stand with you today and always. We have a few cultural days of significance to acknowledge today. October 23rd is Hungarian Republic Day. The 24th is Zambian Independence Day. And the 29th is Turkey's Republic Day. I wish all New Yorkers who are observing a meaningful celebration. October 31st is Halloween, and I hope all New Yorkers enjoy the holiday, whether you're trick-or-treating with your family and friends, watching a scary movie, or dressing up just for fun. Have fun and make sure that you're safe. I want to wish a happy early birthday to Councilmember Vicky Palladino, whose birthday is on the 28th, and Councilmember Oswald Feliz, whose birthday is on the 29th. Happy birthday. And before we continue, I do want to express my condolences to Councilmember Francisco Moya and his family on the passing of his beloved father, Edgar Moya. I also send my regards to Governor Kathy Hochul on the passing of her father yesterday. May they rest in peace. Now let's move on to our stated agenda. First, we'll vote on the following finance items. Resolution 807, sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannan, sets the date, time, and place for a public hearing, authorizes changes to the assessment method for the Westchester Square Business Improvement District. Resolution 808, also sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannan, sets the date, time, and place for a public hearing, authorizing increases in the annual expenditure for 4 business improvement districts. We thank our staff member, Michael Toomey. We will also be voting on the following appointments: Orlando Marin to the City Planning Commission, Lisa Urban to the Environmental Control Board, Bennett Minko on the New York City Tax Commission, John Heisman on the New York City Tax Commission, and Gary Bristol on the New York City Tax Commission. Next, we'll be voting on the following land use items. Livonia 4 technical correction to amend Council Resolution 433 from last year related to the Urban Development Action Area and Project. The amendment will clarify the 17 lots subject to the UDAP and the UDAP approvals, disposition of the city-owned property approval, and 1 additional lot in Councilmember Barron's district. 6 landmark designations that celebrate the rich cultural history of our city. The Bronx Opera House was built as a theater and restaurant around 1913 and served as an entertainment center for more than 6 decades, featuring Broadway acts and many other performances in Speaker Ayala's district. In the 1950s, the Bronx Opera House became home to a series of nightclubs and was an important place of social gathering and expression of Latin culture. 935 St. Nicholas Avenue building, a neo-Gothic revival-style brick, limestone, and terracotta apartment building built in 1915 in Councilmember Abreu's district. The apartment building was home to Edward Kennedy Duke Ellington and Noble Lee Sisler, two pioneers of jazz who were among the most prolific composers and musicians in American history. Hotel Cecil in Minton's Playhouse building, an example of the Renaissance revival style built in late 1895 in Councilmember Richardson Jordan's district. It operated as a residential hotel and was eventually listed in consecutive editions of the Negro Motorist Green Book, a popular guide that identified businesses that were friendly to Black travelers from 1941 to 1961. This Harlem nightclub is recognized in many jazz histories as the birthplace or cradle of bebop in the 1940s. John Burke's Dizzy Gillespie Residence, a three-family building in the colonial revival style with simple facades of patterned red brick, cast stone keystones, and cartouches in Councilmember Moya's district. Dizzy and his wife Lorraine owned the building until the mid-1980s. Fire Alarm Telegraph Bureau, Bronx Central Office, is one of 4 dedicated borough offices constructed in the early 20th century after the FDNY decentralized its fire alarm telegraph operations in Councilmember Felice's district. And Firehouse Engine Company 88 Ladder Company 38, also in Councilmember Felice's district, is unique among firehouses for its prairie-style influence and has served the Bronx for 115 years, including through the epidemic of arson that overtook portions of the Bronx in the 1960s and 70s and has played an important role in protecting the neighborhood. Today, we'll vote on the following resolutions. Resolution 581, sponsored by Councilmember Eric Dinowitz, calls upon the city to recognize November as Veteran Appreciation Month in New York City. We thank our staff members Anastasia Zemina and David Romero. Resolution 422, sponsored by Councilmember Vicky Palladino, calls upon the New York City Department of Education to expand career-connected learning programs and opportunities at all public high schools. Thank you to our staff members Declan McPherson and Jan Atwell. Resolution 68, sponsored by Councilmember Ari Kagan, calls upon the New York State Legislature and United States Department of Housing and Urban Development to increase accountability by auditing the responsiveness of NYCHA managers to tenants. Thank you to our staff members Charles Kim, Ricky Chawla, Connor Mealy, and Jose Conde. Resolution 459A, sponsored by Councilmember Amanda Farias, calls on the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign legislation prohibiting municipalities from requiring employers to use the Federal Electronic Verification System, or E-Verify, to check prospective employees' work authorization status. It also prohibits employers from checking the employment authorization status of existing employees or applicants who have not been offered employment. Thank you to staff members Natalie Meltzer and Rebecca Barilla. Today, we'll also vote on the following pieces of legislation. Introduction 102A, sponsored by Councilmember Justin Brannan, would require the Department of Environmental Protection to publish the location of every green roof in the city on the Green Infrastructure Program map or another map on the department's website using the best information available. The map would include certain information about each green roof, including the type of building, the area of the roof and the area covered by the green roof system, the capacity of the green roof to absorb water, and the function or functions of the green roof. Thank you to our staff members Samara Swanston, Claire McLaughlin, Ricky Chawla, and Andrew Bourne. Introduction 1084A, sponsored by Councilmember Mercedes Narcisse, would require the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to include in its training on trauma-informed care the appropriate information on refugee, asylee, asylum seeker, and migrant experiences. This bill requires DOHMH to determine who of those serving refugees, asylees, asylum seekers, and migrants should be offering the training, and to offer it to them. Thank you to our staff members Julia Goldsmith-Pinkham, Jasari Ganapathy, Nicole Kata, Rebecca Barilla, Sarah Suker, and Aminta Kilawan. Introduction 790B, sponsored by Councilmember Gail Brewer, would amend Local Law 35 of 2014 to add documentation and verifications to the list of acceptable documents for proof of identity needed to apply for an IDNYC card. Applicants for IDNYC would be able to provide certain documents issued by federal immigration authorities, electronic verification through the Department of Correction, and a released offender identification card issued by the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision. This bill would also amend the list of documents accepted for proof of residency to include written verification from emergency housing deemed appropriate by the agency. This is intended to enshrine the agency's acceptance of residency documents received from HERC and respite center providers that can be verified. Thank you once again to our staff members, Jayshree Ganapi, Erica Cohen, David Seitzer, Rachel Cordero, and Ross Goldstein. Introduction 1119A, sponsored by Majority Whip Sylvina Brooks Powers, would require the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to report annually on drowning deaths that occur in the city. The report would include the location and facility type at which the drowning death occurred, the manner in which the drowning death occurred, and information about the deceased, including their age group, gender identity, race and ethnicity, whether they had a physical, medical, mental, or psychological impairment, and whether alcohol, drugs, or prescription medication was a contributing factor. Thank you to our staff member, Sarah Suker. Introduction 1026A, sponsored by Councilmember Sandra Ung, would require the mayor to appoint an agency or office to prepare a report on potential locations for the construction of a bus transit center in Flushing, Queens, to enable passengers to get on or off buses without impeding the surrounding streets or sidewalks. The report would also estimate projected costs associated with the construction of such a bus transit center, as well as expected benefits to the local area. The administering agency would be required to submit the report to the mayor and the council and post it on its website. Thank you to our staff members Mark Chen, John Basile, Kevin Katowski, and Yasmin Nichols. Introduction 712A, sponsored by Councilmember Eric Botcher, would require the Department of Transportation to report on motor vehicles with license plates that are unreadable by red light cameras or school speed cameras. The report would include information on the days and times of day when the license plates could not be read, the community districts where they could not be read, and the reason the license plate could not be read. Thank you to our staff members, Mark Chen, John Basile, and Kevin Katowski. Introduction 1164A, sponsored by Majority Whip Sylvina Brooks Powers, would require the Department of Transportation to promote equity in infrastructure investment as a part of its master plan and include an investment roadmap. DOT would report for each neighborhood the level of investment in safety-enhancing street infrastructure and other types of street infrastructure made in the past 15 years, the incidence of collisions that result in significant injuries, the demographics of the neighborhood, whether the neighborhood is considered underserved, and if the neighborhood has received low investment but is not considered underserved, the factors that DOT considered in reaching that conclusion. Thank you to our staff members Mark Chen, John Basile, and Kevin Katowski. Now I turn it back over to the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker Adams. We will now move into the discussion of general orders. We'll begin with Councilmember Narcisse.
I'm Councilmember Mercedes Narcisse, and as a nurse, healthcare is my top priority. Today, I'm proud to sponsor Intro 1084A, a bill designed to make New York City a more compassionate place for those seeking refuge and asylum within our borders. In healthcare, we understand the profound impact of trauma on the individual's well-being. Healing isn't just about addressing physical wounds. It's about recognizing the emotional scars that trauma can leave behind. In 1084A, aims to provide training in trauma-informed care for those serving refugees, asylees, and migrants in our city. This bill isn't about more compliance. It's about equipping our service providers with the knowledge to offer compassionate care. By understanding trauma signs, behaviors, and principles, we can provide better care for those who need it most. Regardless of one's stance on immigration policy and the migrant issue, I hope we can all agree that addressing basic healthcare needs for those who have faced adversity is the right thing to do. I want to thank my colleagues, healthcare professionals, and the community organization for their hard work, and especially the staff here that help us draft the bills here. So thank you all. I urge my fellow council members to support Intro 1084A. Let us stand together for a brighter, healthier, and more compassionate future for New York City. Thank you all.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Brewer, followed by Councilmember Brooks Powers.
Thank you very much. I'm talking about 790B. It's a bill to expand the list of acceptable documents to obtain an ID NYC card. I think you know that the council and the mayor created the ID NYC in 2014 to give all of us residents the opportunity to obtain a government-issued photo ID. And in 2014, the law specified the types of documents an applicant could use to demonstrate proof of identity and, of course, residency. The law also states that the administrating agency, which is Human Resources Administration, may accept any other documentation that the agency deems acceptable, but the decision to deem a document acceptable falls on individual HRA employees who are understaffed and overworked, and they have to process these applications. And I've heard from the workers at HERCS and the shelters that it's luck of the draw. Sometimes documents issued by the federal immigration authorities are accepted as identity, sometimes not. Sometimes letters from HERCS are accepted as proof of residency, not always. So this bill would make it clear to expand the list of acceptable documents from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, from the Department of Correction, incarcerated individual lockup system, and third, a released offender ID card from the State Department of Corrections, and one that's most challenging, written verification from emergency housing that receives city funding. And I want to make it clear that as we do the 30 and the 60-day changes of location, the city should realize this is going to become much more challenging, but all of these will be expanded in this law. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Brewer. We'll now go to Councilmember Brooks Powers, followed by Councilmember Bottcher.
Thank you, and happy Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as well as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I am proud to sponsor two bills up for a vote today that will advance equity citywide in our city's waters and on its streets. First is Introduction 1119, which seeks to address a public health issue affecting every community in the city, drownings. Drowning is the #1 killer of young children nationwide, and data from the CDC shows that children of color are especially vulnerable to drowning. This legislation will require DOHMH to report annually and publicly on drownings in the city. The report will include the location of each drowning, the demographics of the victim, and additional information about the circumstances of the incident. This specific reporting will empower policymakers and advocates to develop more effective programs and policies to address drownings. Second is the Introduction 1164, which will create an investment roadmap within the city streets plan law to help ensure DOT is making equitable infrastructure investments throughout the city. So many communities, outer borough communities, low-income communities, communities of color, have not received their fair share of the city's street infrastructure investments. It is crucial that the city regularly takes stock of this legacy and work to address it. This legislation will require DOT to identify underserved neighborhoods with a need for additional infrastructure and to set out the future investments in these neighborhoods necessary to ensure they are no longer underserved. I thank my colleagues for their partnership and the Speaker for her leadership on these important issues. This council will continue to work to ensure every New Yorker is empowered to swim safely in the city's water and to make it more equitable, life-saving investments in our city's street and safety infrastructure. I'd also like to thank all of the bill drafters that took part in putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Bottcher.
Thank you so much. Speaking today about Intro 712, which is intended to address the issue of obscured license plates in New York City. It's been a growing problem in recent years. We've all seen it. Cars driving around with obscured license plates, devices that they've purchased on Amazon. They'll sometimes just peel up the license plate, put a piece of paper, print out their own license plate. It's been a growing problem. It's already against the law, but we don't have a full understanding of the issue and whether or not progress is being made to address it. Intro 712 will require the Department of Transportation to post quarterly all the data from its photo violation monitoring systems with respect to unreadable license plates. How many vehicles were captured by the photo monitoring violation systems that can't be read? What community districts were they located in? What days and what times of day? And what was the reason that the license plate couldn't be read? Previously, this data could only be obtained via FOIL request. This will make it publicly accessible to journalists and advocates to help us make more progress on this important issue. I want to thank the speaker and everyone at the council staff, for helping to make this bill a reality. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Do anyone else signed up to speak? Seeing none, we'll now move into the report. I'll wait for the speaker.
None.
The report of special committees.
None.
Reports of standing committees.
Report of the Committee on Environmental Protection, Resiliency, and Waterfronts, Intro 102A, Green Roofs.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Finance, Resos 807 and 808, Business Improvement Districts.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Governmental Operations, Intro 790B, New York City Identity Card.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Health, Intro 1119A, Report on Drowning Deaths.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Immigration, Intro 1084A, Training on Trauma-Informed Care.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Land Use, LU 263, South Richmond Zoning Relief.
Approved with modifications and referred to the City Planning Commission pursuant to Section 197D of the New York City Charter.
Excuse me, LU 267 and Reso 821 through LU 272 and Reso 826, various landmark designations.
Coupled on general orders.
LUs 275 and 276, 703 Myrtle Avenue rezoning.
Approved with modifications and referred to the City Planning Commission pursuant to Section 197D of the New York City Charter.
Pre-considered LU 280 and Reso 827, Livonia 4, technical correction.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Rules, Privileges, and Elections, M175 and Reso 828, approving the appointment of John Heisman, Tax Commission.
Coupled on general orders.
M176 and Reso 829, approving the appointment of Bennett Minko, Tax Commission.
Coupled on general orders.
M177 and Reso 830, approving the appointment of Gary Bristol, Tax Commission.
Coupled on general orders.
M178 and Reso 831, approving the appointment of Lisa Urban, Environmental Control Board.
Coupled on general orders.
M179 and Reso 832, approving the appointment of Orlando Marin, Planning Commission.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Intro 712A, unreadable license plates.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Intro 1026A, Bus Transit Center.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Intro 1164A, Streets Master Plan.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
On the general orders calendar, resolution appointing various persons, Commissioner of Deeds.
Coupled on general orders, I now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote on all of the items coupled on today's general orders calendar.
Moya.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Salamanca.
I know.
Thank you. Abreu.
Aye.
Ariola. Aviles.
Aye.
Ayala. Barron. Botcher.
Aye.
Thank you. Brannan.
Aye.
Brewer.
Aye.
Brooks Powers.
Permission to explain my vote?
Go ahead.
I want to congratulate all my colleagues for the passage of their bills today, and I want to highlight the importance of Councilmember Botcher's bill, Introduction 712, that will require reporting on unreadable license plates by DOT. This is an issue we've held oversight hearings on in my committee. These so-called ghost plates allow some to drive unrecognized by the cameras. It gives these people license to drive recklessly and dodge enforcement of the rules we all must follow. That means more toll evasion, more speeding, or worse. This is a street safety issue and one that we need to address. So again, I want to thank Councilmember Botcher for his work on this legislation, and with that, I vote aye on all.
Kaban.
Aye on all.
Carr.
No on introductions 790B and 1164A, and aye on the rest.
Thank you. De La Rosa.
Aye on all.
Dinowitz.
Aye on all.
Farias.
I vote aye.
Feliz.
Aye on all.
Gennaro.
Aye.
Gutierrez.
Aye.
Hanif.
Aye.
Hanks.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Holden.
Aye on all except for Intro 790 and 1164A, which I vote no.
Thank you. Hudson.
Aye on all.
Joseph.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Kagan.
Aye on all except of Intro 790 and 1164A.
Thank you. Krishnan.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye on all.
Lewis. Marte.
Aye on all.
Mealy.
May I explain my vote?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to commend my colleague Brooks Power on her legislation, 1119A, in regards to it's almost like a phantom that blacks do not know how to swim. I just want to thank her for putting this great legislation in, because for myself, I learned how to swim, and 4 months later, the family went on vacation, and I saved my brother's life from drowning. So I thank her for passing this legislation and putting it forward, and I vote aye on all.
Thank you. Menon.
Aye on all.
Narcisse.
Aye on all.
Nurse.
I vote aye.
Osei.
Aye on all.
Palladino.
Aye on all except for Intro 1164A and 790B, which I vote no.
Thank you. Wrestler.
Aye.
Richardson Jordan. Riley.
No.
Rivera.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Sanchez.
Aye.
Schulman.
Aye on all, and if I may, I just want to welcome the Forest Hills Jewish Center. I have Rabbi Graber from my district and the congregants here. Thank you.
Thank you. Stevens.
Aye on all.
Ung.
Aye on all.
Velasquez.
Aye on all.
Vernikov.
Aye on all except no on Intro 790 and 1164A.
Thank you. Williams.
I vote aye.
Juan.
Aye on all.
Yeager.
Aye on all with the exception of Intro 790, 1164, and Resolutions 807 and 808. Thank you.
Thank you. Borelli. Councilmember Borelli. Powers.
I vote aye.
Speaker Adams.
Aye on all.
All items on today's general order calendar are adopted by a vote of 45 in the affirmative, 0 negative, and 0 abstentions, with the exception of Intro 790B, adopted by a vote of 39 in the affirmative, 6 negative, and 0 abstentions. Intro 1164A, adopted by a vote of 39 in the affirmative, 6 negative, and 0 abstentions. And resolutions 807 and 808 adopted by a vote of 44 in the affirmative, 1 negative, and 0 abstentions. We'll now move into the introduction and reading of bills.
All bills have been referred to committees as indicated on today's agenda.
Thank you. We'll now move into the discussion of today's resolutions. I'll begin with Councilmember Palladino.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for supporting Reso 422. This is clearly a bipartisan effort with support from both sides of the aisle. Expanding career-connected learning and offering vocational opportunities to all high school students opens the door to opportunities they may never have considered otherwise. High-paying, skill-based careers are in demand. We need a new generation of good carpenters, electricians, plumbers, mechanics, and more. Our city was built on skilled labor, and we cannot build a future without it. Some do not realize their talents unless they are given the opportunity to explore them. A student who may be discouraged by math, for example, may find that he or she excels in math through related hands-on vocational learning, such as carpentry. I am so excited to continue working to ensure our students are prepared for a productive and rewarding future. Thank you all once again.
Thank you. We'll now go to Councilmember Kagan.
Thank you. For decades, 550,000 NYCHA tenants have complained about lack of heat and hot water, especially during the winter time, about mold in their apartments, about non-working elevators, and many other issues that were ignored or they heard only excuses from their property managers and sometimes did not even get answer when the inspection will come. Nobody replied to their phone calls or emails. So I believe today we are making a very first important step to change this practice. And I'm very grateful to my colleagues who are supporting this resolution 68, that calling upon New York State Legislature and U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to take strong action and increase NYCHA accountability by auditing the responsiveness of NYCHA managers to the tenants. I would like to thank Speaker's Office and Chair of the Public Housing Committee, Alexa Willis, my staff, especially Legislative Director Atir Tirmizi, for making it happen. I believe it's very important. It's a first step, but it's an important step. Thank you.
We'll now go to Councilmember Farias, followed by Councilor Dinowitz.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Each and every day, people come to New York City in pursuit of a better life for themselves and the next generation of their family. Thousands of our newest neighbors who are not only fleeing persecution and violence, but a lack of economic opportunity. Finding good and stable work is an essential part of that journey, and currently, the federal electronic verification system is impeding that process for thousands. Without the ability to move forward with needed work authorizations, asylum seekers are forced to look for work in unregulated economies that leaves them vulnerable to coercion, wage theft, and undermines our local businesses and revenue. My bill calls on the state legislature to pass and the governor to sign Assembly Bill 568, introduced by my neighbor, Assemblymember Kenny Burgos, and Senate Bill 1802, introduced by State Senator Jessica Ramos, to prohibit municipalities from requiring employers to use E-Verify and prohibit employers from using it to check the status of an existing employee or an applicant who has not yet been offered employment. It is essential that all levels of government are working together to support the needs of our newest arrivals and the economic health of our city. This is what our city council is focused on, and I hope our governor, federal, and state colleagues will too, and I encourage all my colleagues to vote aye.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Danowitz.
Thank you. Today, we're considering my resolution number 581, which will establish the month of November as Veteran Appreciation Month in the city of New York. I'm very grateful every day for the sacrifices of our men and women in uniform and their families. To honor these brave men and women is especially important in times like today, when our everyday lives are overshadowed by the looming threats of violence abroad. It is also in these moments that I look further back and remember the veterans of our city who fought in World War II against tyranny, those who protected democracy in the Korean War, or as stated in this resolution, those defending American values and interests from Bunker Hill to Baghdad. It is because of their service that we all have the privilege to meet here today. In this same breath, we must also acknowledge the ways in which our city and nation have failed our many veterans. Chronic veteran homelessness, despite being reduced by 90% since 2011, still pervades our streets. Many veterans suffer from untreated mental and physical health issues related to their fighting, and over 1 million of our country's veterans struggle with substance abuse. This is an opportunity to honor veterans not only for what they did for us while in service, but also for sacrificing so many facets of their livelihoods for the sake of ours. I urge everyone to support this resolution and extend a thank you to the brave men and women who serve our country with such pride and distinction.
Thank you. Councilmember Mealy, did you have your hand up for resolutions?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I just want to take this opportunity to commend my colleague, Councilmember Kagan, on the common sense legislation, Reso 68, that the New York State Controller will be auditing NYCHA to make sure they sufficiently investigate and close cases to make sure when they say they have fixed the problem, it's really fixed. And it is sad that to this day, they never had anyone to really investigate whether a housing case is closed or not. So I want to thank them for that legislation. I want to thank Met Council for being at the train station today to make sure that the community know domestic violence is here. Seniors are being abused. Young people are being abused with texting, sexting. I was honored to have Met Council at the train stations with me this morning to let people know. And remember, love should never hurt. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak on today's resolutions? Okay, I'm going to move into reading the resolutions. We'll now voice vote on today's resolutions. If you wish to vote against or abstain from any of today's resolutions, please notify the Legislative Documents Unit by email or approaching the dais. I'll now read today's resolutions into the record. Resolution 68 calls upon the New York State Legislature and U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to take strong action and increase NYCHA accountability by auditing the responsiveness of NYCHA managers to tenants. Will all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 422 calls upon the New York State Department of Education to expand career-connected learning programs and opportunities at all public high schools. Will all those in favor please say aye? All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 459A calls upon the New York State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign Assembly Bill number 568 and Senate Bill 1802, prohibiting municipalities from requiring all employers to check prospective employees' work authorization status by using the federal electronic verification system and prohibiting employers from checking the employment authorization status of an existing employee or an applicant who has not yet been offered employment. Will all those in favor please say aye? Will all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 581A recognizes November as Veteran Appreciation Month in New York City. Will all those in favor please say aye? Aye. All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We will now move into general discussion. We'll begin with Councilmember Farias. Oh, sorry, we have Councilmember Barron.
Yes, I had to leave to make sure that nothing escalated. I wanted to keep the peace outside to make sure it didn't get worse. So I'm requesting unanimous consent to vote on all general order items on the calendar.
Okay, thank you. Does Councilmember Barron have unanimous consent? Is there an objection? Okay, no debate. Councilmember Barron, the motion fails.
This is a damn shame. You know, it really is. Hey, I'm trying to keep the peace, and you're going to reject my right to even vote. And I know you're telling them to move on,
there's no
Speaker.
discussion or debate.
Well, there's going
on
to be
it.
discussions.
Appreciate it.
This is
Colleague
ridiculous.
did not offer
It's ridiculous.
the opportunity.
And
so.
all of you sit here and let this stuff happen. It's
Thank
going to
you,
happen to you
Councilmember.
one day. One day it's going to happen to you.
We're going to now move on to general discussion, which we were about to move
I
into.
don't want somebody to vote.
Unfortunately, the
trying to
motion
keep peace,
failed. We'll now go
and
to
they don't want
Councilmember
me to vote.
Farias in general discussion.
What kind of stuff is this? And y'all sit there and let this stuff happen. It's going to happen to y'all one day. You can bang all you want.
Councilmember
I don't
Farias
respect
is
a
up
body
in general
that's not
discussion.
respecting me.
Councilmember Farias.
This is ridiculous. Going to tell me I can't vote. My people voted me in to vote, and I go to bring some peace.
Councilmember,
And
you've
then
had
you're
your
gonna tell me I
opportunity to
can't even
speak.
vote
You missed
on
the vote.
item?
A
I can't even
colleague
vote
did
on the
not
item?
offer unanimous
This is
consent.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Enough. Enough. Councilmember Farias.
Thank you,
please speak.
Majority Leader. These are rules that we are following through, so thank you for giving me a moment. Today, I am introducing an important resolution to honor the bravery and service of the Borinqueneers, a full Puerto Rican auxiliary that served in the U.S. Army's 65th Infantry Regiment during the Korean War. During their service in Korea, the men of the 65th Infantry won 4 Distinguished Service Crosses and 125 Silver Stars. The Borinqueneers were also awarded the Presidential and Meritorious Unit Commendations, 2 Korean Presidential Unit Citations, and the Greek Gold Medal for Bravery. Resolution 813 would recognize April 13th annually as Borinqueneers Day in the city of New York in honor of the courage and contributions of the U.S. Army's 65th Infantry Regiment and their lasting legacy. Thank you to co-sponsors, Council Members Ayala, Holden, Salamanca, Velasquez, Juan, Lee, Rivera, Stevens, and Aviles. I hope you all will consider signing on. Finally, thank you to our Women's Caucus members for wearing, and all members of this body today for wearing all shades of purple in support of New York City's Go Purple Day and in support of survivors of domestic violence, and for kindly earlier today meeting honorary dog mayor Sally Longdog to promote adopting dogs from our overburdened shelters. Please adopt, don't shop.
Thank you. We'll now go to Councilmember Hanif.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Every corner of this city has been affected by the ongoing violence in southern Israel and Gaza. To date, well over 3,000 civilians, both Israeli and Palestinian, have died in the worst instance of violence in the region since the creation of the State of Israel nearly 75 years ago. Like many of you, I've spent time with my Jewish, Palestinian, and Muslim constituents, comforting those who have lost loved ones and praying with many for peace. Every corner of this city is in pain. Every corner is grieving in some way. As New York City elected officials, it is incumbent upon us to protect our constituents from the rising wave of hate crimes across this country. As our government fans the flames of war rather than advocate for a ceasefire, Muslims, Jews, and many others are falling victim to this violence. Just a few days ago, a 6-year-old Palestinian boy, Wadea Al-Fayoume, was stabbed to death in a fit of Islamophobic rage in Chicago. Here in New York City, a 19-year-old Sikh man was also brutally attacked on a bus this week, while a Jewish woman was punched in the face on the subway. While our Jewish and Muslim neighbors fear for their loved ones thousands of miles away, now they also fear for their safety here at home. I join the calls of so many Jewish and Muslim organizations to demand a ceasefire in Israel and Gaza. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Councilmember Yeager.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've spoken about this before on the floor. The violence that takes place in that part of the world didn't start 75 years ago. But that's okay if we want to both sides-isms it, if we want to attempt to justify it, and if we want to stop military from taking out a terrorist organization with a ceasefire. I find it fascinating that the people who call for ceasefires here in Washington never called for a ceasefire when Hamas was dropping missiles daily on Israeli civilians. People lying in their bed at 6:30 in the morning were attacked, slaughtered, raped, brutalized. Woman shot in her head, stomach cut open, her unborn baby stabbed to death. That's what we're talking about. It's not going to be another Holocaust for a lot of reasons, because good people in places like this council, many of you, stood up and said something. And in the Congress, there's near unanimous support for the Jewish people, with the exception of the Congressional Hamas Squad. And all across the world, people are standing up. And unlike during the Holocaust, the Jewish people have a defense force. And that wasn't there then. Mishaberach Avasenu Arvam Yitzchak V'Yakov Hu Yivarech Es Chayolet Tzava Hagana L'Yisrael Ha'oimdim HaMishmar Tzenu V'Arei Aleinu Mikvul HaLevanim V'Ad Midmar B'Tzrayim When Hayom HaGadol Ad Levaya Arava B'Yabosha Ba'Avir V'Yom Yitein Adonai Yasevenu HaKamim Aleinu Nigafim L'Fneihem HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishma V'Yatzel Es Chayolenu Mikol Tzar V'Tzuk Mikol Nega Machla V'Yishlach Brocha V'Hatzlacha B'Chol Ma Yasei Yedeim Yad B'Soineim Tachteim Yatrim B'Chesa Yeshua V'Teres Nitzachain Bikuyim b'hem ha'kasav, ki Adonai Elohechem ha'hoylech imachem, li'ilachem lachem, imavechem, lo yishia eschem v'namar amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Sir, you can't speak here. He's leaving. We'll let him an opportunity to exit. We'll now go to Councilmember Kevin Riley.
Okay. Thank you, Majority Leader. Good afternoon, colleagues. Speaker Adams. I'm here today to ask for your support on 4 important bills being introduced today: Reso 817, Intro 1231, Reso 819, and Intro 1222. Reso 817 is a resolution calling on the New York State Legislature to pass and the New York State Governor to sign legislation that will create unlimited transfer within the 2-hour period of paying with the MTA, subway, or bus fare. As we know, the current transfer system allows riders a one-time transfer for connecting to additional bus or train. Daily commuters who use the MTA have a complex trip, require several transfers for their basic needs like attending school, medical appointments, and shopping for groceries. Complex trips results in expensive commutes, and to ensure that all New Yorkers are able to fairly ride the MTA, we must fix the disparities created by the current transfer policy. In turn, Reso 817 would generate greater rider usage, funneling more investments to our MTA transit system in need of capital improvements. In addition, I would like to ask my colleagues to support Intro 1231, co-sponsoring it with Councilmember Natasha Williams, which is a bill that addresses the quality of life concerns created by unlicensed tire shops. By requiring tire shops to obtain a 2-year license through the Department of Consumer and Workers Protection, this bill aims to ensure that they operate responsible, reducing disruption and productivity caused by annual renewal requirements. I am also asking my colleagues to support Intro 1222 with Councilmember De La Rosa, which will allow the Department of City Administrative Services to waive the fee for civil service examination for high school students who have not yet taken the exam. This bill will eliminate potential financial barriers for New Yorkers, open up access to a wider pool of qualified candidates. I encourage all my colleagues to sign on these bills, and thank you so much, Majority Leader.
Thank you. We'll now go to Councilmember Joseph, followed by Councilmember Wan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, Majority Leader, and colleagues of the Council. Today, I'm honored to present a proposed legislation, Intro 1227, for your consideration. This bill aims to establish a dedicated parking enforcement unit within the Department of Transportation. In my role representing the Council 40th District, I've witnessed the countless concern our constituents have regarding parking issues. Despite the dedicated efforts of my team in collaboration with the local precincts, resolving these problems often take an excessive amount of time. Intro 1227 is the solution we need. By creating a dedicated parking enforcement within the DOT, we can effectively address our constituents' parking concerns throughout the city. My bill, Intro 1227, will improve the persistent parking problems in our city. It will ensure smoother and more efficient parking for our residents. Moreover, it reinforces DOT's core mission to enhance the crucial transportation infrastructure that is so important to our city's economy, well-being, and residents' quality of life. Today, once again, I invite my fellow council members to co-sponsor this bill and work together to expedite this passage for the benefit of our constituents. I extend my gratitude to my dedicated staffs and our legislative division for their diligent work in drafting this vital legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Councilmember Wan, then Councilmember Barron.
Thank you, Speaker Adams. Thank you, Majority Leader. Today, I'm introducing Resolution 820 with Council members Joseph Farias, Krishnan, Hanif Gutierrez, and Hudson, and it is calling on the New York State Legislature to pass and for the governor to sign S1037 and A423 to require public schools to obtain written consent from parents or eligible students before releasing their personal information to third-party vendors. We've heard over and over again from DOE hearings that as well as schools, principals, teachers, and parents that children's information of where they live, their grade level, as well as their name are being sold to third-party vendors, which are then being used, for example, by charter schools to poach students without parents' consent. So the current system as is requires an opt-out system where it should really be an opt-in consenting that the parents release this private information about their students. So to protect the students' privacy, I call all my colleagues to please join me on signing on to this resolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll go to Councilmember Barron, followed by Councilmember Gutierrez.
You know, this is the most ridiculous session I've ever been involved with. We call this a democracy. This is a dictatorship of the speaker. The reason why they had to make noise is because they can't get a hearing in committee on the elected civilian review board, because what we have, the police commissioner determines the final complaint or disciplinary action on the police, who are out of control many times. Another bill I can't get a hearing on, the retirees don't even want to hear it. Even asking you to vote on it, just hear it. But I talked to a chair, the chair of the Civil Service Committee said, talk to the speaker. Since when? The rules say that the chairs make the hearings, not the speaker. Some people said they wanted to sign on to the bill. When they called the legislation office, talk to the speaker. This is a dictatorship of the speaker, and you're sitting here silently because some of your bills are passing, but it's a damn shame that has gotten to this level. I went out there to make sure it didn't escalate and nobody get hurt, and now I can't even vote? This is ridiculous. Finally, the Palestinian issue. I am 1,000% pro-Palestinian, free Palestine. This is not an unprovoked war. Since 75 years, the Balfour Declaration, they killed Palestinians to take their land. The Nakba, 700, 800,000, their children, their babies were killed to establish the state of Israel. In 2014, 1,500 Palestinians killed, and 509 children. Heard nothing from any of you. A Palestinian baby's life is just as valuable as an Israeli baby of life. So I say, free Palestine, and you watch. This is going to turn around when people
Thank
find
you,
the truth.
Councilmember. Thank you. We'll now go to Councilmember Gutierrez, followed by Councilmember Brewer.
Thank you, Majority Leader. As AI becomes increasingly prominent in our daily lives, it's imperative that we address the profound impact automated decision-making systems have on the everyday lives of New Yorkers. Especially with the recently released plan from Mayor Adams' administration, which aims to regulate and advise on the use of AI, it is even more pivotal for us to codify much of what was outlined into law. I'm excited to introduce legislation alongside Queens Borough President Donovan Richards Jr. that will identify and address bias in automated decision-making within our city agencies. Our agencies want to serve the people of New York the best way they can, and Intro 1223 will help them do that. This bill will establish the Office of Algorithmic Data Integrity in partnership with the Office of Technology and Innovation and the Department of Investigations, and support our city agencies in equitably delivering critical services and resources to New Yorkers. The office will conduct audits of automated decision-making tools used by city agencies, investigate public complaints, make recommendations, and educate the public about the city's use of algorithmic tools. It is vital for New York City to lead in this field and address any issues that we may have head-on. These tools, some of which use artificial intelligence, make life-changing decisions for everyday New Yorkers. This bill will move us closer to a bias-free, equitable New York City, ensuring that every New Yorker, regardless of their background, is treated with fairness and respect in all decision-making processes. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll go to Councilmember Brewer, followed by Councilmember Richards and Jordan.
Thank you very much. With Councilmember Rivera, I'm going to talk about Intro 1220. It would require businesses that sell or service e-bikes and e-scooters to obtain a city-issued license. The goal is to ensure businesses are in compliance with local laws and particularly fire codes intended to prevent these lithium-ion battery fires. To obtain a license, retailers and repair shops must be inspected by the fire department and show proof of liability insurance. The law would require administrative agencies to conduct appropriate outreach in all city languages for a minimum of 90 days to alert retailers of the new requirement. This requirement is not a barrier or deterrent to e-bike ridership. Micromobility is a good thing, but there is still work to be done on all levels to keep people safe. Just this week, 5 people were injured, 3 critically in a massive fire sparked by a lithium-ion battery in Brooklyn. Lithium-ion batteries, as you know, have sparked 216 fires this year that led to 120 injuries and 14 deaths. I hope you will all co-sponsor Intro 1220. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I'll go to Councilmember Richards and Jordan, and will be followed by Councilmember Dinowitz.
Hi, I just wanted to take the opportunity to reintroduce the Community Power Act. Just the legislation itself, it doesn't matter who introduced it, like all, the personal feelings, like all of that is noise. So the legislation itself is a police accountability measure. It's an elected board, so instead of people being appointed, there would be an unbiased board elected by the community that could decide in cases of police abuse and misconduct. Then the board would also be able to have binding decision power instead of it being kicked back to police commissioner. We would move from the police supposedly policing themselves, which we all know does not work, to a community control of policing. The bill does merit consideration just on the face of the legislation and text itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. We'll now go to Councilmember Eric Dinowitz.
Thank you. The events of the past few weeks have certainly been very difficult. But the words coming out of some people in leadership positions in some high-profile groups have poured salt on the wound. You can be 100% pro-Palestinian, 100% pro-Israel, and 100% against Hamas. And to be clear, for those of you who don't know, Hamas is the terrorist organization that does not believe in peaceful coexistence. They do not believe in a two-state solution. They showed what they believed on October 10th. They believe in rape. They believe in kidnapping young children, entire families. They believe in live streaming the execution of grandmothers. They believe in slaughtering babies, burning babies, beheading babies. That is not resistance. That is not freedom fighting. That is not working toward a solution that leaves Palestinians with dignity and leaves Israelis with security. We say in the Jewish faith, we say that this isn't just one enemy, this one time that is tried to attack us. This happens in every generation. And it is happening now in our generation that there are terrorist groups and nations that seek the destruction of the Jewish people of Israel. And in this generation, we have an opportunity right now to stand together in this moment and say something so simple and yet profound that we can say that Israel has the right to exist and the Jewish people have the right to exist in freedom, safety, and dignity.
Thank you, Councilmember. We'll now go to Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm proud to introduce legislation establishing flood evacuation protocols to enhance emergency preparedness, particularly for New Yorkers living in basement and first-floor apartments. This bill will require property owners to create, post, and distribute flood evacuation plans to all current and prospective tenants. New York City is at the forefront of the climate crisis, where extreme weather associated with climate change is becoming more frequent. The city saw record flooding in late September that resulted in water rescues from vehicles and basements, and the suspension of a significant amount of the subway system lines, as well as just our city coming to a complete halt. Rainfall amounts for September 2023 were 3 times the usual amount for the month, the most on record for the city in over a century. We've seen disastrous years since the devastation Superstorm Sandy brought to our neighbors over 10 years ago, and it's clear that New York City must remain committed to long-term resilience planning. We must be at the forefront of implementing policies that support a sustainable future, combat climate change, and really just ensure that New Yorkers are empowered and informed when disaster strikes. I ask for your sponsorship on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else signed up for general discussion? Councilor, and I'll come back to you. Just want to see if there's anybody else signed up to speak right now. We'll take one quick second. Stand at ease for 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call now on Speaker Adrian Adams to close out today's meeting.
I know there's no quorum, but I just want to protest this meeting, not giving me a
Thank
right
you, Councilmember.
to have a
Without calling
motion.
Speaker Adrian Adams.
to
Thank you very
close
much,
out
Majority
Speak to
Leader.
this
Before we conclude,
democracy
I just
that
want
does
to
not
impart
exist. I have a right.
how
Council
important
member,
it
you've
is
had your
that
right.
we,
I have a
as
right
council
to vote.
members,
I have a right to vote.
Councilmember,
I have
the
a right to
rules
vote.
do not allow you to vote. You missed the vote.
before we conclude, I just want to
Thank you.
impart how important it is that we, as council members and leaders in our respective communities, continue to respect one another and value each other's humanity. Despite our differences of opinions, we must model for New Yorkers what it means to express disagreement with empathy and respect. This is how we move our city forward in unity.
Madam Speaker, 1 second, please. Councilmember, we've heard your opinion. Please sit down and let us close the meeting out. The rules do not allow you to vote. Councilmember, the rules do not allow a member to vote. We took.
Can we make a motion to allow him to vote?
Madam Speaker, go ahead.
Point of order, do we know what's going
Can't
on?
we just make a motion and pass it?
We're going to adjourn.
Stand up for the people and stop being.
We are going to adjourn this meeting. The stated meeting of October 19th, 2023 is hereby adjourned.
Your district, your chairs, this is a disgrace to democracy.
One person objected. When one person objects to unanimous, then that means that you can't vote. He was out.
I didn't understand what was happening.
But nobody explaining what is going on.
Exactly.
You just got to be around for a long time.
Yes.
But that never happened in my, so it was when William said no, that's when, oh, gotcha. That's, I didn't know what that was about.
I don't know why she did it, but she did it.